Someone walked through an open house recently and reported smelling propane. The seller, who was living in that house every day, said she'd never smelled a thing. So we got it checked out anyway. That one decision uncovered more than $17,000 in problems on a house already under contract, and it could have killed the sale entirely. So here's how it unfolded. Visitors at the open house mentioned smelling propane. The seller was adamant that she'd never smelled any propane in that house. But when enough people say something, you check it. So we called the fire department out, and thank goodness we did, because it turned out the gas was not plumbed properly. That was the thread that unraveled everything. Once the buyers did their home inspection, the full picture came out. The heating system had completely failed. The water system essentially needed to be replumbed. The house needed a new water heater and a new heating system. All in all, we were looking at over $17,000 in repairs on a home that was already under contract. The first thing to understand is that this is when problems show up. Not when you list, not when you get an offer. It's the home inspection. That's the moment the buyer brings in a professional whose entire job is to find what you've been living with and stopped noticing. And I want to be really clear about something from this story. My seller was living in that house and she genuinely did not smell the propane. She wasn't hiding anything. When you live somewhere long enough, you stop noticing what's right in front of you. So if an inspection turns up something big on your home, that does not make you a bad seller or a dishonest one. It just means you now have a decision to make. What are your options? Honestly, there are only a few. You can repair it before closing. You can offer the buyer credit and let them handle it after they move in. You can renegotiate the price to reflect the work, or you can refuse to do anything and risk the buyer walking away. Now, in some situations, a credit or a price adjustment makes perfect sense, especially for cosmetic things or smaller repairs. But when the problem is the heat and the water, that's different. A buyer isn't going to purchase a house that doesn't have working heat or water. There's no financing that surrounds it, and there's no talking around it. In a case like this, the repair really isn't optional if you want the deal to close. And now here's the part most sellers don't know, and it's the reason my sellers got through this. When you're facing a $17,000 repair bill in the middle of a sale, the panic is usually about the cash. Most people don't have that sitting around, and they haven't been paid for the house yet, but you may not have to pay for it up front. In our case, I found a contractor who was willing to be paid at closing from the seller proceeds. So the work got done. The sellers were never out of pocket, and at closing, I took the signed invoice over to the title company, and they dispersed the payment directly to the contractor. Now, I want to be straight with you. This is not automatic. It depends on the contractor being willing to get paid after closing and everyone agreeing to it. It's a conversation worth having, and a lot of sellers never even think to ask. And here's how the story ends, which is really the whole lesson. Those buyers stayed. They were willing to work with us because we took care of it. We didn't argue about it. We didn't try to hide it. We handled it. That's what keeps a deal together when something goes wrong. Buyers understand that old houses have problems, and this is New England. Most of our houses have some age. What they can't accept is a seller who won't deal with what's found. So if an inspection turns up something serious in your home, the instinct is to panic or fight. And that's understandable. But the move that actually saves your sale is to face it directly and figure out how to solve it. So here's what I want you to take away. Big problems come up during a sale more often than people think. It does not mean the sale is over, and it doesn't mean you're stuck writing a check that you can't afford. There are usually more options than you realize, and part of my job is knowing what they are and who to call. If you're getting ready to sell here in the greater Concord area or anywhere out to the New Hampshire, Maine seacoast, and you're worried about what an inspection might find, let's talk about it before you list. There's almost always a path forward.